It's been 8 years since the last Final Fantasy XII spin-off, and while Final Fantasy X-2 had its detractors, Final Fantasy XIII-2 takes some steps to really re-steer the direction of Final Fantasy XIII away from the love it or hate it divide towards something that longtime Final Fantasy fans will embrace.
Warrior goddess. Now we cross swords!
If you haven't finished Final Fantasy XIII, we'll count to 5 in order to give you time to hit stop on this video.
What is that? Watch out!
Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, Final Fantasy XIII-2 kicks off immediately after the final cutscene of Final Fantasy XIII. Lightning survived a near-cataclysmic event and was reunited with her sister Sarah at the end of the game. However, in Final Fantasy XIII-2, that timeline has changed, and everyone believes that Lightning didn't survive the final battle.
You hear me? Your sister's dead! She can't help you! Ah!
Sarah knows what she saw, and upon encountering Noel, a young man from the future who met Lightning in parallel dimension, both team up to alter the fabric of time and space.
Can you fight?
If I have to?
Sarah wants to bring her sister back, and Noel wants to save humanity from the apocalypse that he's witnessed.
Wait, you know Lightning?
Both characters are interesting, and they need to be, because XIII-2 does away with the traditional Final Fantasy ensemble cast. It also helps that the ability to jump around time lends a credibility to the plot.
Well, you're looking at a different time. That's the world I come from.
In other games, there's that break from reality while your party goes to explore side quests, and it hurts the overall sense of narrative urgency that the main quest usually carries. That's not the case here.
You see? It's a time gate.
The biggest revamp that Final Fantasy XIII-2 delivers is the Historia Crux.
It's the Historia Crux. The crossroads of the time continuum.
This device completely does away with, dare we say it, shatters, the linearity that turned off so many Final Fantasy XIII players. Instead, XIII-2 sprawls and branches out to allow you to jump around time and space. In the numerous sections you visit, you'll collect artifacts that let you unlock time gates that add different nodes that represent locations and specific points in time. Basically, it allows the player to selectively go back to several key moments in the game and replay them for different outcomes.
I'll be back!
If it sounds like a choose-your-own-adventure style of play, it is. And it works well here, because it allows you to revisit several pivotal moments in the game's storyline and see how they affect the overall outcome. But you won't have to replay the entire game again to play with these wrinkles in time. As a result, the game thrives on a non-linear experience that serves as a great contrast to Final Fantasy XIII's long-winded exposition. Even more importantly, Final Fantasy XIII-2 doesn't simply recycle the places you've likely visited in 13. Instead, it opens up a surprisingly large array of new locales. When it does bring you back to areas you saw in the previous game, they've been transformed. And the game does a great job of using your memories from Final Fantasy XIII to toy with your idea of how time has passed in these places, and also how it warps when you play across several timelines. Final Fantasy XIII-2 does away with the traditional summon system. They weren't great in Final Fantasy XIII, so XIII-2 uses a monster collection system instead. You can pick up a beast to join Sarah and Noel in battle. When you defeat enemies, they often drop a crystal that allows you to add that creature to your bestiary for future fights. You'll need to pick your monsters carefully, just like you would a party member in other games, but fortunately, you can augment your favorite creatures with the abilities of weaker ones. If you want that layer of depth, it's there, but you can still get through the game with a set of average monsters too. If there's a minus here, it's that the paradigm battle system of Final Fantasy XIII, which some complain played itself, really feels that way in XIII-2. This system, combined with so-called cinematic action sequences, it's okay, they're QuickTime events, make the core experience feel a bit too easy. You can seek out tougher side quests if you're up for a challenge, but overall, the combat is accessible to a fault. If you're playing this one on easy, feel ashamed of yourself. Final Fantasy XIII-2 makes a great sequel because it addresses complaints like the excessively linear gameplay of Final Fantasy XIII, while adding some unique moments through the Historia Crux and the way you can play with time and space to get multiple endings. It's a game that makes some compromises. No summons, the difficulty feels out of whack at times, and you only get 2 people in your party, but it provides some great new ideas for already visited terrain. And more importantly, it won't require 24 hours to open up to greatness. Thanks for watching, and if you want to know even more details about Final Fantasy XIII-2, be sure to read our super review at GamesRadar.
We'll be able to be together again, right? When all this is over?
One thing at a time, Sarah.